Brexit, guys. We don't often talk about it much here, but I think given the headline here from this article from Sky News, it's definitely worth talking about. Keir Starmer has set his sights on a closer relationship with Europe if Labour win the next election. Let's read more into it, guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with the headline that Sir Keir Starmer has set his sights on a closer relationship with Europe if he wins the next general election. Sir Keir Starmer says Boris Johnson's deal was far too thin and that a Labour government would have a closer trading relationship with Europe. This is a good step, I will say, just initially, just off that, to have a closer tie with Europe in that sense. But we know it's not enough. So, Labour are looking to build a closer trading relationship with the EU if it wins the next election, Sir Keir Starmer has said. The Labour leader spent the weekend meeting fellow centre-left leaders in Montreal, Canada, including the country's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The party has long been critical of the deal negotiated by the Conservatives under Boris Johnson, with the Trade and Cooperation Agreement review up for review in 2025. Speaking to the Financial Times, Sir Keir said almost everyone recognises that deal Johnson struck is not a good deal, it's far too thin. It was an oven-ready deal, guys, but the problem is that when he took it out of the oven, it was burnt. You get the analogy, you get the analogy. As we go into 2025, we will attempt to get a much better deal for the UK. Labour has ruled out rejoining the customs union or single market, but Sir Keir said he was confident a better deal could be secured from Brussels. I do think we can have a closer trading relationship as well. That's subject to further discussions. We have to make it work. That's not a question of going back in, but I refuse to accept that we can't make it work. I think about those future generations when I say that. So, let me think very carefully about this. So, obviously, we have to be realistic about where we are as well as a nation as well. Even if Keir Starmer and Labour wanted to rejoin the single market and customs union, it would not happen for any time soon, guys. That is a realistic thing. And not only would it not happen anytime soon, it would bring up old wounds. People don't want to talk about Brexit. There are some people out there who don't want to have that discussion again. Brexit has not only damaged the economy and damaged lives, and it's cost lives, but it's also destroyed relationships as well. You know, the divide that it has caused a great deal of harm to everyone. And some people just don't want to talk about it, and they just don't want to hear anything about it. Whether you agree or disagree, that's just how some people feel about it. Now, the reason why I believe that we can't rejoin the single market customs union straight away, simply because there's no incentive for the EU to push for it. The EU have got their own problems, and you would need all the nations to be on board with it as well. And it only takes one, I believe, just to turn around and say no. So we are a long way off. And not only that, guys, we are stuck in a two-party system where we only have to pick between two parties to run the United Kingdom, between the Conservatives and Labour. And do we honestly think the Conservatives are going to be up for rejoining the EU? As of right now, no. Do we think that even after, if Labour win the next general election, the Conservatives will be up for it? No. It's been said before by other YouTubers. Both parties need to be on board for this. We need the vast majority of the public want this. We need everybody to be on the same side when we want to rejoin the single market and customs union. Now, that being said, yes, we are hurting right now ever since we've left the European Union, and I think this is a good step in the right direction for Keir Starmer and Labour to say, look, we want a better deal. They can closer align to the trade deal, closer alignment with the European Union. That will reduce red tape significantly. It will reduce red tape and make business easier for both the UK and EU. Obviously, it's not on the EU's priority, but the Labour have got to convince. If Labour government does come to fruition, they've got to convince the EU for a good deal, and they're going to have to offer something. We're going to have to offer something really good and big in return, in order to make it happen. But it is optimism we should have, and hope that it will make the nation better in doing so. So I would say, like, yes, I understand there's a lot of skepticism about Labour, and rightfully so, especially some of the U-turns and clawbacks they have done. And yes, we will be holding feet to the fire when Labour are in government, and rightfully so. And yes, I have put criticisms of my own against Labour on here, and I still do have much criticism, much doubt about Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. There's absolutely no question about it. But at the same time, we can't have another 5 years of Conservatives as well. That doesn't mean Labour are guaranteed my vote. They still have yet to convince me that they're going to bring hope and change for the better. But in terms of this story itself, it's a step in the right direction. Is the best way to put it. A step in the right direction. I say that as a dad. I've got a 15-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl. I'm not going to let them grow up in a world where all I've got to say about them is that their future is going to be worse than it might have otherwise have been. I've got an utter determination to make this work. To be fair, Keir, you're in a very wealthy position. You like, I mean, you can't say you've been in the shoes of someone who's struggling to make ends meet. So I'm just going to put that out there. But he is coming across as an ordinary working person as well. Sam Coates says, what's interesting is that Keir Starmer is on the front foot about something that has been a difficult issue for Labour. Until now, the Labour leader has been quite cautious about a closer relationship with Europe for fear of alienating those who voted for Brexit in 2016 and then Tory rather than Labour in 2019. Meanwhile, Labour is also facing renewed pressure from its main union backers Unite, which is reportedly set to launch a grassroots campaign to call for more radical policies on energy and steel. Unite General Secretary Sharon Gibson has called for the public ownership of energy and has been criticised of Sir Keir in the past. She told The Guardian that the union would be targeting so-called rebel areas as part of a bid to put pressure on the Labour leadership. But this is more about closer alignment with the EU and our thoughts about, trying to make Brexit work is basically what he's trying to do, guys. Essentially is what he's trying to do. We've got to try and make the best of a bad situation. We cannot go back with what we can't go back straight away. It's just not going to happen. We have to be realistic about what we can and can't do, guys. What I will say is it does not mean we are going to forever be outside the EU. It just means that we're going to have to be patient. Yes, we have made the mistake of voting. Yes, we didn't vote to leave the single market and customs union. We did vote to leave the EU, but we didn't vote for that. It's very important to stress that. That was not on the ballot box when people casted their vote. Just be patient. I know we're suffering, but be patient on this issue. Is the best thing I can say. I know there's a lot of people frustrated and over this, and I will say yes, okay, I understand Labour there are questions about Labour, but right now you're stuck in a situation where you have two parties you have to choose. You can vote Lib Dem and Green, but they're not going to get enough votes to get into government because of the way the electoral system works, guys. That's just sadly the way it is right now here and we have to change. If we want to change for the better, we've got to start by getting rid of the most toxic party that has caused the most damage in this country, and that is the Conservative Party. And we've got to hammer them so hard that they basically go into the abyss. I don't think they will, but we need to send a very strong, clear message that what they've done in the last 13 years has been an absolute damning indictment on the United Kingdom as a whole. But let's wait and see what the manifesto will be from Labour when a general election is finally called. It will be interesting to see the details, that is for sure. What do you guys make of Sir Keir Starmer's pledge here to have a closer relationship with the EU? What are you guys' thoughts on it? Let me know down in the comments below. Like, share and subscribe as always. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.